First, I want to give my respect to Pante and hello everyone. Today, we discuss about the topic, how do you learn new English words or vocabulary? Today, I just give the topic. We discuss about how to learn the new words. We don't discuss about grammar, about for skill, listening, speaking, writing, or reading.
Sorry, we cannot hear you, Mr. Ben. Oh.
Sorry. Sorry everyone, my internet has a little problem. So everyone do not to present all of things you have prepared. You just answer to my question. But the way to answer, you have to explain a little when you want to say something. You have to explain. And after a person answer a question, everyone can ask by raise your hands. By click to the icon, raise the hand, and I will call who raised the hand. I will call someone, but not all. And one question, I just ask 2 of 3 person. I don't want, but anyone want to add more information, you can raise your hand and add some little question for the question. The 5 question I have to give all to you already. So today, now I will start to the first question. How important the vocabulary is in using English? I mean, why do you learn the new words? And how important why you learn the new words? So the first question, I want to invite Mr. Sona. Can you answer the first question? What how important the word is?
Okay. Thank you for your asking. Before I answer, I would like to pay my respect to all Fante in our group and say hello to everyone. Yes, the first question is how important the vocabulary is in using English. Well, personally, I think when we learn any languages, the first thing that we have to do is learn vocabulary words, because they play a very important role to communicate as well as we can deliver our message to the other people effectively and quickly. So if we have lack of vocabulary words, we could not deliver our message to other people well, and sometimes we can get stuck while we are speaking or while we are reading. So I think vocabulary was is really essential for English learners to enrich as well as to make sure that you know clearly how to use them, yes, in the correct context as well as in the correct way. So this is my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sona. So you mentioned about new words is important to enrich the English using. So anyone, if you have question, please the icon raise your hand. Do you have any question? If not, I invite the second person, but to answer the question one, how important the vocab.
I have one question to my one Suna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suna, how do you know about when we research from social media about in English? How you can get from social media about when you research in vocabulary?
Yes, thank you, Fante, for your good question. Yes, I think social media is very useful in learning any languages nowadays because a lot of people use it every daily life. So and especially in COVID-19 situation, I saw that a lot of Facebook pages as well as YouTube channel that are teaching English by the native English teachers. So for me, I have learned a lot from social media to build up my English language. And for your question, I could say that when I read an article or when I watch any English video from social media, I often pay attention to the new words that I don't know before. Then I write them down on my notebook, and then I check my dictionary. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Fante and Sona. So the second one, I want to invite Shere. You are a student, you have to learn more about the new English. So how do you think how important the work the new word is important for you?
Thank you for your inviting. First, I would like to pay homage to all venerable and good evening, our group. Personally, I think that the capital for learning any language is the word, because we listen from word, we pronounce word, we write word, and we communicate with word. It means the word is the basic factor for every people who learning any language, and English language it is same. That's my idea.
Okay, thank you, Tere. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, anyone? Do you have any question? Mr. Da, you want to ask? Unmute, open the mic. Mr. Da, open your micro. Okay, okay.
Hello, hello,
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
hello, Miss Ray. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Sorry, my micro is a problem. Yeah. Now, do you have a way to pronounce new word? Yeah. Do you have a way to pronounce new word? Yes. Because you say English very well. I want to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we can pronounce the word like a native speaker when we listen a lot from native speaker. According to Brother Sooner, we should listen a lot from a YouTube channel. And I also join a lot of app to sponsor the pronounce skill. You can get the app outside speaking. This is very useful for you to improve your pronounce, because this app have a lot of function, and it will help you a lot. I think that now I am learning from this app.
Okay, it's good.
Okay, do you want to get this app to your phone? Hello, Mr. Nda.
Okay. Thank you, Tere and Mr. Da. So we have to answer the question one, and everyone, all you know that the vocabulary is very important to the learner to learn English, because it's different from our language. So we have to learn the vocabulary to compare or to know the meaning, to use it in exactly sentence, exactly speak communication to other one. So it's very important for the new learner. So I want to move to the second question. The second question, when do you learn new words? So everyone, you may learn the new words every day, learn the new words many way from the current life. When you meet something, you have to learn the new words, etc. So maybe there are lots of different from each other to learn the new words. So when do you learn new words? I would like to invite Mr. Sopong.
Hello, Ponte. Hello, everyone. Tonight I talk about learn a new word. I have the following the way. Chalk the word to need, learn and correct it anytime. And I read that word many times, so as not forget the learned word. We have to repeat that word often. You will forget that word, so that to remember for a long time the new word learned. You can learn new word and can to listen to your favorite song and pick out a new word you don't understand. Take note and learn for it. I can learn practice listening on YouTube. Listen and let communication on the phone. I can type and let learning on workshop and study with the teacher in it. Thank you for your listen. I'm
Okay,
finished.
thank you, Mr. Phong. And can you tell me when do you learn a new word?
I learned new word this morning and learn on the group. Yes.
Okay, I think you said that you learn the word, usually learn word in the morning. Okay, thank you. And this question I want to invite Phante Tam. So when do you learn new words?
Hello Fante and hello everyone. I heard you asked me when I learned the new word. Follow me, I'm informant because sometimes I learn and sometimes I'm not. I don't learn. But I learn normally. I learn the new word in the morning. I use a little time about 20 minutes to learn about 5 word or 10. And in the night I remember again the last word I should learn. My idea like this.
Okay, thank you, Phante. You learn the words in the morning and then you revise in the evening. So thank
Yes.
you, Phante. And also this question, I want to invite Mr. Kung. So when you learn the new words,
Hello, Fante, and hello, everybody. I learn a new word in my free time, and sometimes I learn a new word in the evening. I spend 1 hour to learn a new word because when I learn a new word, I think I can learn about meaning and pronunciation. That's all.
Okay, that's good. Where you the time you learn work is when you have free time. So that's a good way to learn a new words. And I saw that everybody just answer learn in the morning and in the evening and free time. So someone may have some other time to learn the new words. So I would like to invite Ante Tanban. So every day or every weekly you when you learn English word. And my Ante.
Hello, everyone. Yes, about me, I learn vocabulary when I have free time. I usually learn at in the evening. Yes, and I usually learn vocabulary in YouTube. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Fante. So you have a new time to learn words that you when you watch the YouTube and you learn the new words when you meet. So I think this question I want to invite Fante Sernrin. You have a lot of experience to learn English, so can you share? So when you usually to learn the new words?
Hello. But I want to pay my respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and pay my respect to all Pante and say hello to all teacher and all students in this class. Okay, for the question is how many ways do you usually learn new words? For the question, I would answer that normally before we start study about the new language, in my experience, when I study English, I want to know about some word before, like when we say how are you, so how are you, what does it mean? And we study from the this sentence. And when we say how old are you, so like that we can learn about the meaning of this sentence. So I let's when we say another words, or we want to know about the new words, we can check from the dictionary and we translate to the new sentence. From this sentence, we can move to another sentence and the meaning of those sentence. So like we listen to music or we listen to Dhamma talk. If we want to know about this word and we want to remember, we want to remember them, we have to know the meaning of this word and how to improve, and we can speak. We can speak and we can write down on the book. I think some people we have many ways. We have many ways to study. Some people can listen and remember, and some people we can after listening and write down on the book, and we can remember that. For me, when I start to study English or Thai language, I study from the consonant and vowel, and after that we can listen to another person speaking or listen to YouTube channel or everything. We can get knowledge from them. So like here when we have English speaking class and get from many experience from here. Like we have meet Sarai. She can pronounce to English words is very well. We can study. We can follow her, and we can ask her to how to pronounce this word, how to say English well. And like me, when I study in the university, I try to listen from teacher, and I can get some experience in the class, and we practice more and more. Okay, this is my idea.
Yeah, thank you, Pante. You have a lot of experience to show us about the way to learn new words. So I have heard that you learn some words before you using English, or you read the sentence and find out the meaning of the words that you don't know, and listen to anyone or to the music and write down the words you hear, and you check in the dictionary, or you check, you get the meaning, and watch the YouTube to learn a new words. So that's I have heard from you. And then everyone, if you have any question for Pante, please ask him.
Can you ask me any question?
Okay, excuse me, Pante. I have a question for you. Did you
Yeah.
face any difficulty when you learn English? Yes, at the beginning of your life.
Okay. I have many difficulty in my life when I want to study English. I have to move from Thailand and move to Da Nang City for study over there. I remember that when I moved from Thailand to Da Nang City, I went to study in English Center. So in beginner class, but when I studied for 3 months, I think it's very important for another person, but for me, I got a little bit knowledge from this class, because normally I study only study in Thai, and when I speak only Thai language, I cannot to improve my English in short time. So that I have to I try myself and I want to move to another country for practicing in English. So when I moved to Sri Lanka, in that country, they speak English. Some people, they can speak very well, but some people only speak for understanding. And when we want to know about this word, is correct or incorrect, I have to compare from this word to English book, and I have to write down, and I check from a dictionary. And normally when we try to study any language, we have to do like that, and step by step we can improve by ourselves. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Pante. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And anyone, do you have any question? Yeah, so I want to listen from more experience from Mr. Renda. So what way do you usually to learn English?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for your advice. First of all, I please visit Ponce, and hello everyone in the group. Yeah. Tonight I have a short presentation talk about how do you learn a new English word. Yeah. In my opinion, this is the most important thing, and also the most difficult thing for me, and improve my English and everyone else. I confess I am the some person who has very few English words in my friend. Yeah. So to talk about the experience of the question, how do you learn English, new English word? It is also difficult for me to present because I have not achieved that success myself. But if you talk about my way of learning English work from the past up to now, it's as follows. Number one, I study new words that I usually use every day and write them down on fear of the paper. If weekday I'm too busy to study, I write them on the back of the hand, yes, of the hand, and so that I can study when I working. Yes. Number two, I usually put a stop in the 10 containing that new word to learn. Number two, I really want to say those words, but unfortunately, no one here can speak English. But now I am also very fortunate to be able to participate in this speaking group created by Tuna. Yeah. Number four, I'm determined to try to practice speaking English with my group with new English words so that I can improve and be better so that in the future I can communicate with the person in English. Yes, that's all. My presentation is done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Renda. You have 4 ways to learn English that you write in hand, write the sentence, and read the sentence, and then before you learn from the speaker or from friends when you don't know the words and you write and you ask anyone. So that's a good way to learn English. So anyone, can you ask Mr. Renda?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Renda. Do you hear me, Mr. Renda?
Yeah.
I heard your sharing. I think that you can show me about the method to learn English, to learn the new word, English new word easy. How to learn the new words easy.
Yeah. I think I learn a new word every difficult because I don't free time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Renda and Pante. So we want to hear some experience from Pante today. You had to learn English and you speak so good. So I want to know what way do you learn new words? Can you share to us?
So respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, respect to Pante in this group. Sometimes for ask hello to everyone in this group. I think everyone always have energy for their own phone because they have a technique to take note, to remember, or to imagine. So I want to explain about my friend of our memory. There are three kinds, especially we use only the sensory short-term memory, because sometimes I learn a new word, I easy to forget it. But I will show you how to remember word easily. The first, I identify this word I don't know, and then I open dictionary or use dictionary. Or if I don't use dictionary, I always open in the internet, and so you type password we don't know on the internet, and so on the Google will answer about you ask or you research, and so you can take to pronounce it. Then you can remember. This is the three times you can remember. And learn the new word as you should learn by the related word. Related word that's the meaning the same word. Like example, actor meaning the people play, and actress. That is the related word. It's easy to remember a new word. And the second, the opposite word. The word is again together. An example, that's the eat and drink. Our example, go and come of back. That's the opposite. And we can learn by the new word, by the synonym word. Synonym word meaning that the word is the meaning the same or similar. That's my study new word, and sometimes I always read on internet like Wikipedia, because it's easy to translate. Example, I don't know this word, I can double click on this word and then for look at it will answer about what we study, what we want to know. That's it when Wikipedia. And if you sometimes day by day you easy forget, you I think nowadays on the social media like Instagram, Facebook, you have to follow about the page, follow and everyone who study English, and then you can read every day, especially that's in the quote, meaning a piece of document, a piece of quote, because if a piece of quote is you don't know, you can determine, you can predict anything, because you practice your mind to clever to remember is good. That is all about my way to learn new words. I learn new words many ways.
Yeah, thank you. You have a lot of way to
Yes.
learn new words. I recognize that you have to tell for technique to learn the new words, that you type the words to check on the internet or in the dictionary, and learn the words opposite meaning or the same meaning, and try to learn from the page that they show lots of new words that you don't know. That's a good idea, but I want to add a question. When you type a word in the electric dictionary, so you type all the letter or just type some letter and then the keyboard show you the word and you choose?
We have a problem about the internet.
Okay, when you type the word to find the word in the dictionary, electric dictionary, so you type all the letter or just type some letter and then the keyboard show you and then you choose.
Yeah, I tried on the electric dictionary because it's now we can career, we can take it every day or every time. We can use it easily. Sometimes I also learn a new word on the screen mobile phone. Example, if you have an Android system, you can download a system study English on home screen, and so when you take up on screen, it open a new word will react to you. You can learn this word. That's the on electric dictionary. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone, do you want to ask Fante?
Hello, Conte. I have one question for you. Content today. Yeah. Can I? What is the energy? Energy. What is the energy to study English for you? Yes, thank you for your question. Firstly, I want to tell you because I'm no way to study like English. And the second, when I arrived in Munirangse Temple, there are many tourists. They visit my temple, and the tour guide he say, "Oh, there's fine about something in Khmer temple," and they say, "Oh, that's the Thai temple." And I say, just because my English is not good, so I say, why he say he choose and write your hand too, and she say, "Oh, Thai temple," and I go to there, and no Khmer temple, because Thai temple is not here. Thai is grow up on the 15th or 14th century. It's not for Thai. Khmer. Also, you see everything is sculpture, structure, building like Thai, but it's not Thai. It's Khmer, Mekong Delta. This is my energy, the first. And the second, does he have a tour guide? He asked me, who you are? I'm a monk. And the monk can use mobile phone or can go to out. The monk can use mobile phone. Why? And I said, because I study. And then, what do you study? They asked me, what do you study? And I said, I study English, Buddhism. And then they said, oh, I think the monk is modern. You mobile phone. No, oh, like I felt mobile phone, but I get the mobile phone to them, and then it's my home screen. And nearly the dictionary, like my dictionary, Vietnamese dictionary, Pali dictionary, English dictionary. That's it. I study. The monk study here. Yeah. This is my energy to study. But I have I'm so regret about a story when it's influenced more and more to monk Khmer. I want to show with everyone. In a tourist
foreigner, not Khmer or not Vietnam. When they are in the Khmer temple, and then you are looking around, there's a dining hall, there's a temple, there's a seminar hall, and they walk, oh, whoa, like the villa, that is a hotel, like a 4 or 5 type of house. When they go to ask the master of birth, master by English, but the master it cannot answer about they want to know. So my regret in your mind, regret, very sad, upset, as the all my energy.
Okay, thank you, Pante. And the second
Yes,
question, when you move to Damarangse, oh no, Munirangse, right? Munirangse temple. What do you think about your master? About your master, he is the chief monk over there.
Yeah, I think he perfect. Yeah, he perfect. He can speak English very well because he graduate. He graduate master degree in Thailand or Myanmar. He can speak Myanmar, Vietnamese, Khmer very well. But I was moved to Cần Thơ for 3 years, but study English for about 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
That's
Pante.
all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pante. Thank you, Pante. You have a lot of experience, and so funny to get energy to learn a new language, is English. So I want to hear more experience from another one. I think Mr. Sona, you do not be English teacher, but you try to study English more and more, so you can speak English very well. So can you share experience? How many ways do you usually to learn the new words? But try to skip even you the same idea with other one.
Okay. Thank you for paying me a sweet compliment. Yes, English is a very interesting language that I need to study, and I don't know exactly the future plan that I use it for. Yes. Now I would like to share you some of my own tips to learn a new English vocabulary words. Yes, personally, I think when I learn a new English words, I will follow 4 steps. Yes, step number 1, guess the meaning of that new word. Well, when we catch a new word through watching English video or reading English article, the first thing I have to do is to guess the meaning of that new word based on the context or the situation of that article, of that video, because I think that guessing the meaning of that new word is the basic step to help me to impress the meaning as well as the context of that new word, so that I can memorize it easily and deeply. And step number 2, look up that word in the dictionary. Yes, you know, there are many kinds of dictionary, but I highly recommend that we should use the dictionary that has the explanation of the English words in English language, like English Vietnamese dictionary or English Khmer dictionary, because besides we can learn the pronunciation of that new word as well as the meaning in Vietnamese language or in Khmer language. We can also learn the explanation of that word in English, and by following this way we can train our mind to think quickly in English, and when we get stuck of forgetting a word when we communicate, when we are communicating in English, we can use the other word to replace them, or we can use the simple explanation of the word that we forget to deliver our message to other people. Yes, and step number 3, write it down on note. Yes, because when we catch a new word and we look up in dictionary, but we don't write it down, we cannot review them easily when we forget it. And when I write the new words on my note, I don't write just the individual word. I write the whole sentence or the whole phrase, because it helps me can use it quickly in future later when I want to use it. And step number 4, I should review them and use them very often. Yes, so when we learn some new words and we just write down on our note, but we do not review them very often, we do not use them very often, we can forget them easily in the future. So those are my ways to learn a new vocabulary words. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Suna. You have 4 tips to learn the new words. So someone is told it again and told it already, and then you have one more new tip that you check the dictionary to find the pronunciation and explain the meaning by English and other language, by English and other language. So that's good tip to to learn a new word. So we can move to the question 4. What voice do you learn words or phrase? That means when you learn a word, what do you do? What do you learn the fact of the vocabulary, such as meaning, pronunciation, spelling, etc. So I would like to invite Yên. Are you here? Did you hear? Yên. Or may she out. So I would like to invite Pante Chen. So when do you learn new words? What did you do to learn a new word? What you learn about the new word voice?
Hello.
Okay.
Hello everyone. I often ways to learn a new English words. As I always every morning I sometimes learn new English words. I often to learn on new English in the channel YouTube, and then you should Google Translate. This means because I think language English are very difficult. Therefore, I regularly practice and new English language words to improve English skill. And sometimes I read a new space for contact new English. Sometimes I have to always to a new English read book, listening by the to the practice English my English. In my mind, it's my idea.
Yeah, thank you, Pante. You have told all the way you learn English. You with a new word and translate in the Google Translate, or you read newspaper, etc. to learn a new words to learn English. So anyone, can you ask Pante Chen? Do you have a question for Pante?
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chen, I have a question. Example, when you remember a word, how do you can remember it all time or long time?
In my opinion, I use so say regularly.
Yeah,
practice.
practice to write.
Right. Regularly.
Okay, thank you, Pante. So I would like to invite Young Lin again. Can you tell us when you learn a word, what points do you learn about the word?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Wait a minute.
So this question you don't have to just tell what you do when you learn a word or a phrase word.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Wait me. Okay. Since I have this story, and now I can tell you about this. Tell to everyone about this topic. Yes, and the first I want standing attend to your good topic. Yes, and I don't know if we because I'm busy, so I don't know. We have changed some methods when we learn. I can you can tell to me. You can tell to me now if you have changed some something when we learn. Are you hear me?
So I would like you answer the question number 4. Do you see the question? Yeah. Yes. What
Yes,
do you do
okay.
when you learn a new word?
I can answer. Sorry.
What do you learn in a word or a phrase?
I usually learn new word. And
when you learn a new word, what do you learn
yeah.
about the word facts, such as you learn the meaning, or you learn how to write, or you learn the pronunciation. So what?
មែនន័យថាគ្រូចង់សួរថាពេលចាប់ផ្ដើមរៀនnew word ពេលកាលហ្នឹងឯងគ្រូ
ពេលយើងរៀនអក្សរមួយយើងរៀនអ្វីខ្លះក្នុងអក្សរនោះ
ចាអូ học gì ta tại because I have prepared this topic and the thing I have prepared this topic but I don't understand your
so can
I don't understand your thing.
You can say all of you prepare. You
Yes,
told
okay.
out
And
of your anything you prepare.
yes, and I think we have a lot of matters when we learn English, and so and about myself, I have learned new words by my own way, and when I talk about English, I will miss my grandmother because she is an inspiration make me have a love with English. I remember when I was young, my grandmother usually buy a lot of CD about English song for children, and I feel like it because I can learn new words by song. Yes, or my grandmother usually buy uh, some book about story translate Vietnam translate to English, yes, and I can read and I can learn in there, yes. And when I grow up, I can learn English by myself. Sometimes I listen English song, and I will write new words on the paper, and I learn it, yes. And if I difficult work, I can for by internet or dictionary, yes. And now when I'm joining this group, before talk about a topic, I always prepare and I write to notebook, and I the thing I will say, yes. And I am and then I read more time if I choose some difficult word, and I will write them again, and I will write them again, yes. And I learn it, yes. And that is all of methods I have used, and I feel very effective for me, yes. That's all.
Yeah, due to a good way to learn new words that you want to do something, you have to prepare, and then you will miss new words, and you learn by many ways. Read and write to revise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way. So everyone, can you ask Miss England? Mr. Pong, can you answer?
Hello, England. I
Yes, I'm hear you.
yeah. Are you write letter you to your friend? Are you write letter the letter?
Okay. Yes, yes. I am, because now in internet so develop, yes. And not so I have a write letter to my friend, or and another I usually send messenger, or I inbox with my friend, yes, by Facebook or by Shallow, yes.
You can write.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah. You can write Vietnam or
Hello, I'm
English.
here.
You write Vietnam or English.
I can, yes, something sometimes I try uh Vietnam, and but if I have contact my foreigner with my native contact with.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Sherry, do you clear about question number 4? Will you tell us about what do you learn in a verse?
Okay. When I learn word by heart, I always do always do fire after in the same time. And it means when I learn new word, I will use my eye to see this word, use my hand to write, to remember about the spelling. I read this word to improve my pronouns, and I listen from my reading. It means I learning about spelling, pronoun, mean. Yes, that's all.
Yeah, thank you, today to hit 3 points. When you learn a word, you will learn how to write. That's
Yes.
the way to spelling, and learn how to pronounce the words. That means we read the words and we know the meaning of the words. So that 3 points you mentioned. So anyone, can you give me some other point in learning a word? I would like to invite Pante Pakaday, because you told us some more little, but I want you to tell other different from the 3 points from Miss Ray.
Excuse me, can you tell again?
Hello, can I have you? Okay,
Miss Ray,
really.
can you have Pante?
Thành giờ sức cái đây là không phun im anh phun sẽ lấy cho lăng anh đó. Rồi can you tell me again, Mr. Bẩn?
Yeah, I want to ask question number 4. That's when you learn a word. So, what do you learn? What fact do you learn, or what point do you learn a new words? Ms. Ray said that we learn about spelling, learn about pronunciation and meaning. So, do you have any different point from Ms. Ray?
Sorry, I think something I misunderstand your your name maybe, because I do. Who called me?
Today.
Really? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I misunderstand. Nói tao thế nào
Okay.
đọc cho làm mấy mày.
Yeah, I called you to answer the different point from Miss Ray.
Skip me.
Okay.
Skip me. Okay.
So I would like to invite Mr. Sona. Do you have any point from different from Miss Ray? Did you
Yeah.
clear about the question number 4?
Okay. I also want to share some other points are different from Ms. Sarai. That when we learn a new word, we first we learn how to pronounce it. It means we learn the pronunciation, and second we learn the part of speech of that word. You can see in the dictionary that that word is a verb or a noun or an adjective or an adverb, etc. So that we can use them correctly in a structure or in a sentence. Yes. Yes. That's all. Thank you.
So you had 4 5. Mr. Ray has 3 5, and Mr. Sana has 1 5. That we learn about the type of words, the parts of speech, such a verb, noun, adverb, etc. Yes, that's 1 point more. So anyone, do you have any points? Do you get the meaning of the question?
I think I don't have any question because For me, I have a tip for everyone that you should learn about the suffix and that's the meaning like Khmer or Pali that's the Papopmot and Pachai as suffix and prefix because it's also meaningful for study or learn new words. That's it for my idea about learning new words.
Yeah, you have one more point. That's mean we learn about the suffix or prefix of the word. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I think maybe you we have some more point, but maybe I invite Phante Sơn Riêng.
Okay, I got it, but now I have no idea to explain it.
Yeah, thank you, Phante. So I have to add one more point. That we have to learn about words opposite or the same meaning. That we call synonym. Yeah, we learn about that too. Synonym opposite, the same mean or opposite meaning. So we have 5 points. We have 6 points in the when we learn a new word. So we have to learn about spelling, learn about pronunciation, learn about meaning, learn about type of words, learn about suffix or prefix, and we learn the group of words we such as synonym or synonym, etc. So we have a lot of point in to study our words. So we move to the final question. Every week, we call weekday. How many words do you learn? And this question you have to explain what words do you usually learn and why and how many. So you have 3 questions in this the final question. So the first I would like to invite Mr. Phong. What word do you learn and why? And how many?
I learned the new word about 5 and 6 in the week because I am busy to the garden. I don't have free time, and sometimes I listen to music. I pick out a new word if I understand, and I try anytime. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. You learn about the words you meet. Yeah. When you don't understand a word, you learn, but you learn a week from 5 to 6 words. So thank you.
Yeah.
And now I'm Mr. Runda. How many words do you learn and what and why?
Thank you for brother. I asked Mr. Phong, I'm very busy with my family. I can learn 4 or 9 or 10 new words on week. because I use the I'm watching the YouTube YouTube learn English English sleep English and I listen music English and I read book and I learn the new word you see you use every day I can new word I can learn new about new word. Yeah, thank you for.
Yeah, thank you. And to learn about maybe 10 words per week, and I think that's good. If you have week have get more 10 words, you will be enrich your words very much. So about Mr. Kung, what word do you usually to learn and how many?
In the quickly, I learned a new word about 20, because I'm busy. I think I will try harder that I want to make sure that I remember on the work I learned this. I think I will learn step by step because I don't pretty calm. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, to have about 20, I think is a lot. Yeah, and now contagion. How many words do you learn weekly?
I often ways to learn English words. 1 o'clock every morning, and because I think we are learn many words. I can forget. Therefore, I think chat some new language words. That's all.
Yeah, I think if you have study every morning, 1 or 2 words, so 1 week you can learn from 10 to 15 words a week. Yeah, thank you for that. And England, you are a student, so you have to learn a lot of new words. So how many words do you learn, and you learn about what do you learn? England. So I move to Pante Tam. Pante Tam, you are a student too, and you learn to speak English very well. So how many words do you learn a day, a week, and what type of word do you usually learn?
Sorry, Mr. Ben. He asked for get thing out soon. Yeah. A little bit early then. Yeah.
have little problem. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I think the topic is more exciting, and everyone have a lot of experience to learn a new words. So if anyone want to add some more point, please talk together. Do you want to say anything?
I think study a new word is influence about our emotion. If today you happy, you can remember it easily and faster. If you so bored and so unhappy or sad, a new word you can read. Oh no. Ask me, one week sometimes cannot remember one word. No. But sometimes a day I can remember about 30 to 50.
Yeah.
It's
That's,
all emotion.
Yeah. Me too. I nowadays I have to busy with my work, so I have learned a new words so little. And when I learn new words, I try to do many tips that everyone have told, and some way I do, and but some way I don't use regularly. So when I study new word, I also forget it later. So if when I be a student, I try to learn a day maybe 10 or 20 words. But now I can't do that. I just learn one word or two words when I watch YouTube, or when I read the book, or when I see anything in the line, and I try to translate to English and I learn. So nowadays I learn just from um, 5 to 10 words weekly. It's not a lot. So if everyone don't have any idea, I want to flip it again. So we have to say that the word is important to learn English. So we learn the word. We have to learn about the meaning, pronunciation, word time, um, spelling, and etc. And we use the technique to learn the words, such as read the word aloud, write the sentence or phrase, listen to the other speaker or music, uh, write in hand, write in short sentence, uh, identify the word and check the dictionary, study about a synonym, uh, and um, revise. It's especially revise the words more and more. So that's some main point that we are discussed today. So anyone, if you don't have any idea, so we can stop now.